Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shell Point Today for Monday, November 16th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Thanks for joining us for today's program. Today, Dr. Frazer of Oakmont talks about the scholarship fund he founded in honor of his wife. And Sandy Ehlers gives us a preview of her academy class on master's paintings, where she will talk about 3 impressionists that influenced her own artistry.
But first, we want to remind you of tonight's concert with the Gulf Shore Trio. You'll enjoy great masterworks of chamber music as they perform an array of classical pieces. Violinist Reiko Naya, cellist Susanna Kelly, and pianist William Dawson will fill the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands with their beautiful music beginning at 7 p.m. After the concert, you'll have the opportunity to meet the artists while enjoying a dessert and beverage.
Another opportunity for enjoying great music comes tomorrow night in the same location at the Woodlands. Guitarist, singer, songwriter Dean Miller will perform a variety of musical styles, including classical and jazz. You'll enjoy his fingerstyle performance and versatile vocal abilities. Come early and enjoy complimentary desserts and coffee at 6 p.m. with a concert beginning at 6:30 in the Grand Cypress Room.
On Wednesday, you can learn about leading-edge medicine from the experts in a new healthcare series entitled Medical Breakthroughs and Discoveries. This will be the first presentation of the series and will feature Dr. Paul DeGiorgi, a cardiothoracic surgeon from Lee Memorial. This Health Connection series is sponsored by the Legacy Foundation and is a great way to be informed about the latest advances in medical research and healthcare practice. So make sure you're signed up at either service desk.
With the flu season already here, it's probably a good time to start thinking about vaccines. While we're at it, let's discuss pneumonia, shingles, and hepatitis as well. Vaccines for these illnesses have become a topic of concern, so you'll want to be sure to hear what pharmacist Yal Adu Sarkodie has to say about these in his presentation tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. in the Social Center.
While caring for his wife at the Larson Pavilion, Dr. Joe Frazer of Oakmont has become very familiar with the workings and efforts of those who provide care there. With a desire to help these caregivers obtain further training, Dr. Frazer launched a perpetual scholarship fund in honor of his wife, who spent her career working as a nurse. Dr. Frazer visits with Teri Kollath today to talk about the scholarship fund and to introduce us to one of the caregivers at the pavilion who has benefited from the scholarship program.
Hello, I'm Teri Kollath, manager of the Auxiliary and the Academy of Lifelong Learning here at Shell Point. And this morning I have the privilege of interviewing 2 people, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Rosie Campbell and to Dr. Frazer of Oakmont. And Rosie is working part-time in our skilled nursing facility, the Larson Pavilion, while she continues her studies. Thank you for joining me, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
It's an honor to be able to talk with you.
Oh, it's an honor to be here.
Because we have so much we want to share with our Shell Point community. For a number of years, we have had a scholarship fund, and now we have another scholarship fund due to your generosity, Dr. Frazer. Would you like to share with us why you have been motivated to create a fund?
Oh, yes, it's quite a story. My wife, a lifelong nurse, I've said she's the best nurse I've ever seen. Nobody could do much more than she's done. And unfortunately, we had planned to do a lot of traveling these last few years. I've developed an illness, and she got me over that. And just after I got back on my feet, she came down with dementia. So for 4 years, she's been in the pavilion, 4.5 now. And so I spend every afternoon with her and give her supper. And I've become very, very familiar with the comings and goings in the pavilion, the people, the patients, the people who work there. And it occurred to me that the money that we had set aside for our travel might better be spent in helping our neighbors many of us need this same care. We don't like to think about it, but we will. And so I thought, yes, if I could help them improve the care and get people who are truly dedicated to helping us in Shell Point, that I would like to do that. So I created the Edith C. Creed Scholarship Fund. I endowed it with a certain fund. The idea being that it would be a perpetual thing. It's not to be spent. It's the income off of it is to be spent. And the balance, we hope, will come from contributions from other people here.
Well, Dr. Frazer, this is such a remarkable thing you're doing, and it's such a perfect time to do it because we all know, Rosie, you can attest to this, medicine is changing right while we sit here. And to be able to add to the knowledge of the staff already in place, to go from one level of responsibility to another is a precious gift. Rosie, you've taken such advantage of these scholarships, first with our auxiliary scholarship fund, and now you're accessing the fund in honor of Edith Frazer. What has this meant to you with your ability to keep studying?
This has been a huge honor, and I'm so thankful to Dr. Frazer and his wife and to Shell Point. I started here at Shell Point as an LPN 6 years ago, and soon after I took my boards and got my RN. With the auxiliary, I was able to achieve my bachelor's of nursing, and I got accepted into a master's for a nurse practitioner a year ago, and so it's so expensive. So this has been a huge help.
And you've been working at Shell Point in the medical field in the Larson Pavilion for 6 years. Why do you like working in our Larson Pavilion?
I love this place. I really do. I love the environment, and I love the administration, and I just love working here. It just feels home to me ever since I started working here 6 years ago, and it's hard to find places like that. So I'm hoping that when I finish my program, I could stay.
Well, it would be wonderful to be able to talk to both of you more and more and more because you have wonderful stories. But the main thing is this morning we've been able to share with our community that these funds are available, why they have them, and the kinds of wonderful staff that take advantage of them. So if you are motivated to talk with some of the staff that you come into contact with daily, some of the medical staff, remind them that we have these funds. And as you live at Shell Point, please know there's so many ways you can contribute to the future and to leaving a legacy here at Shell Point.
Sandy Ehlers of Eagles Preserve is excited to show you some beautiful artwork from famous master impressionists. In her class tomorrow, you'll learn about 3 radically different impressionists who dramatically influenced every generation of artists that followed. Sandy will share how she was influenced by these artists even as a child. She visits with Teri Kollath now to give us a preview of the Masters Painting class happening tomorrow.
Hello everyone, I am sitting here today with Sandy Ehlers of Eagles Preserve. We're talking about a class coming up in the Academy of Lifelong Learning, and I really want to tell you more about it because the title, Masters Paintings, cannot capture what's going to happen that day. Thank you for joining me, Sandy.
I'm delighted to be here.
We are always so grateful when Sandy Ehlers wants to share some of her background with us because you are an art appreciator, an art encourager, a painter, a teacher, and I think we're capturing all of that in this class.
I wear lots of hats. I always have.
Well, they're wonderful hats, and you wear them beautifully. And this one, Masters Paintings, I think we're going to be able to show several things to the person who comes to this class. And that is, first of all, we're going to look at some beautiful art and put it in the context of when it happened. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we're going to talk about 3 artists this time. Remember last year we talked about one. Matisse. And I wasn't quite sure what the audience was going to be like, and they were very quick, so I thought, hey, I'll toss 3 in this time. So I'm going to do 3 post-impressionists. It'll be Gauguin and Van Gogh and Pierre Bonnard. And they're They're all marvelous artists. They're big on color, very, very big on color. They had colorful lives, as you know. And we're going to talk about their time in history, how they each became so independent and so good, and what they like to paint. And then I will have a painting. I've copied a painting by all three of them. I copied two by Bernard. And I will have those paintings there. So the nice thing about the class is if you just love art or if you're just curious, that's fine. We'll cover that territory. If you are an artist or a wannabe artist, you will get enough technique without it being boring, you know, just because you don't know how an artist paints until you copy one of their paintings.
And I want to bring that out even further, Sandy, because that's another reason why we named it Masters Paintings. These are paintings by masters,
Right.
paintings worthy of us to look at, even though they were done in the 1800s. They're worthy of us to look at today. Master painter yourself, it's a long tradition of painting what the masters painted.
Exactly. And everyone you do, everyone you copy, when you're done, you have a sense of almost how that artist took their breaths.
The color, the expression, looking at things in a new way. And now we're going to be able to see how that encouraged you in your journey as an artist.
One of the fun things that I did for this particular class, in the 3rd grade, my teacher was Mrs. Willis, and behind Mrs. Willis was Gauguin's Tahitian landscape. And I studied that picture for 9 months, the whole 3rd grade. And of course his mountains are not the color mountains really are. A lane, a cart lane road, that he had the lanes too far apart. And as a little child, I would sit there and think, well, why did he do that? As an adult, when I copied, I thought, of course, he had too much yellow there, so he just slung that over there, you know. And it was really, really fun to go back and do that picture. I almost could draw it without looking at it.
It's fabulous.
And Gauguin is a symbolist, and in that sense, color was important, but so was form. For the Impressionists, it was all color. The Impressionists came, these are post-Impressionists. These are the men that followed. And Gauguin had a lovely sense of form. If he did a nude, whatever he painted, a child, you know, a lagoon, you see the form as much as you see the color. In the Impressionist paintings, you see the mood and the color. The post-Impressionists, this was the beginning of becoming more independent, which eventually led into modernism, you see. But it's great, great fun.
So just to reiterate what's going to happen, they're going to come, they're going to hear this wonderful lecture that puts these 3 artists in their historical perspective, and they're going to view some paintings, in addition to the paintings of the artists you're talking about, they're going to view your renditions.
Well, and Herb Sklar, who does so much for the arts at Shell Point, he and Sheila are friends of ours, and Herb helps me get all of the paintings, you know, the technical work. And he's so very good that you're going to have a whole compact, almost like, you know, going in and just doing an art history course.
Sure, you're going to see the photographs
You're
of this
going
work.
to be seeing this stuff.
As you talk about it.
I like to keep attention, though. I like to talk to people, and then I like to look at paintings. I think there's so much to learn when you're seeing and you're listening. Sure. That I don't like everything going on at once, you know. I work it out so by the time you leave, you've learned a lot. You've learned a lot.
And you've seen a lot of beautiful color.
And you've seen a lot of beautiful paintings.
That's wonderful. Well, we certainly do hope that you'll make time in your busy schedule to join us. I don't think you'll want to miss Masters Paintings with Sandy Ehlers.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections right after this Listening to the Words preview from David Howenstein.
Welcome to an encore presentation of Listening to the Words. Program 119 originally aired in August of 2013. The program begins with an article I call Shell Crafter Supreme about our resident neighbor, Gaz Goslin. Note that the shell creation highlighted in the February 2012 article was one that Gaz donated to the Sanibel Library. Also on this encore program, enjoy a visit I made to a Nuremberg, Germany gold pounding studio in 1963 when I was stationed with the U.S. Army there. And you'll want to hear Terence Flannery reading a piece he wrote titled The Soldier. Then I read a fascinating story about a window display in a toy store. It's titled Some Marionettes. Then 2 poems by Emily Sarah Loeb, one with the intriguing title The Mermaid's Mistake Corrected at Last. You won't want to miss an excerpt from Sanibel writer Charles Sobchak's book, 6 Mornings on Sanibel. Then the show ends with a cute piece titled 47 Years of Marriage. I'm David Howenstein, saying that even if you heard this program 2 years ago, you're likely to like it again, as it airs twice each hour all 7 days this week on Shell Point Channel 12. Also, you and yours can enjoy any of my so far 209 programs anytime at www.shellpoint.net/listening.
Hi, and welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley, and I'm here with Caitlin Van Scoy, and we're going to tell you the activities that we offer for you here today at Shell Point. We're going to start with an 8 o'clock tennis game. This is men's match play down at the Woodlands tennis courts. At 8:45, we have virtual bowling in the Resident Activity Center. Billiards will be at 9:15, also at the Resident Activity Center. And the Lollygaggers paddlers will be meeting at the kayak storage to take off on their 9:15 paddle trip. Also at 9:15, we have pottery with instruction available down in the pottery studio. At 10 o'clock, we have men's match play tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. And our Susie Q boat heads to Matanzas on the Bay at 10 o'clock. You do need to sign up for the Susie Q trips. At 10:30, the Disciple Men's Bible Study Group will be in the Woodlands game room. And 10:45, we have our last morning activity with table tennis with a clinic in the Tarpon room. Here's Caitlin for the afternoon lineup.
Thank you, Bev. We start our afternoon off at 12 o'clock with Mahjong. That'll be in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. We move to 12:45 for a Health Connections class, Senior Self-Defense. That's in the Health Club on the island. At 1:15, we have Advanced Table Tennis in the Tarpon Room. Another 1:15 activity is Samba, the card game. That'll be played in the Resident Activity Center. The Model Train Room is open from 1:30 to 3:30 today. And at 1:45, another Health Connections class, Balance and Mobility Training for Beginners. That's in the Health Club on the island. The BDI Beat Club will be in the Oak Room of the Woodlands at 2 o'clock. And at 2:45, Journey Through Grief will be in the Village Church Chapel. At 3 o'clock, we have a Health Connections class, Pilates Stretch in the Health Club. And Shell Point Singers Rehearsal will be in the choir room at the Village Church at 3:15. The singles table is available at the Crystal Dining Room at 5 o'clock. And at 6:30, Beginners Square Dancing will be in the Health Club on the island. Duplicate Bridge will be played in the game room of the Woodlands at 6:30. At 7 o'clock, we have a Concerts and Conversations series. The Gulf Shore Trio will be in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands, and you do need a ticket for that one. Living a Resilient Life will be at 7:15 in the Village Church on the island. That is, a reception will follow that. Our last activity of the day is at 7:30, Square Dancing in the Health Club on the island. Well, that's all we have for you today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Teri Kollath with your Academy information from Monday. At 10:30, the Anatomy of Words group meets in the Oak Room at the Woodlands, and they welcome everyone. At 1:15, Got Pictures will be taking place in the Technology Teaching Center on the island for those who have signed up. At 1:15, iPhone Basic App Safari will begin in the Manatee Room on the island, and sign up is required. I'd like to tell you about some new classes coming tomorrow. We have Car Fit, an opportunity to see if your car fits you. This is provided by the Lee County Sheriff's personnel and Abbey Services. We also have Majestic Clockwork with Professor Adrian Kerr, and an iPhone Messages class with Bruce Findlay of Sundial. Sandy Ehlers of Eagles Preserve will be presenting Masters Paintings.
Menus for Monday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is vegetable lasagna with garlic bread and green beans. The dinner special is Old Home Cooking Night for $13.95, and the soup of the day is vegetarian chili. In the Island Cafe for lunch, you can have a turkey Cobb salad wrap with fresh fruit for $7.75, or for dinner, the special is Mojo pork with beans and rice, green beans with tomatoes for $8.75, and the Palm Grill is closed on Mondays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with Jan Emrich, who's one of our office staff, but more importantly, Jan has been involved for a number of years with the South Fort Myers Food Pantry, and we are just getting ready for one of our food drives, aren't we, Jan?
Yes, it starts on the 17th of this month, runs through Sunday the 22nd, and there will be drop boxes throughout Shell Point community for your ease of convenience.
That's terrific. Now, this isn't our first rodeo, is it?
No.
We've been at this food drive kind of thing for some time, so tell us a little bit about the history of what we have been able to contribute to the South Fort Myers Food Pantry.
We've been doing this since about 2008 along with about 10 other churches, and they started the South Fort Myers Food Pantry then that handles all of South Fort Myers. So we generally have food drives twice a year, and we use that to collect food that we're unable to get from our partner, Harry Chapin Food Bank. So we're looking for specific items. Most of them are protein rich because there is a shortage of them.
Yeah, so we've been engaged in this kind of activity a lot, but it's not just that we collect things. You and some other people in the church are actually invested in the food pantry, aren't you?
Yes, we have many volunteers from Shell Point as well as the church. And so we spend sometimes on Monday, which is our client day, to unload, sort food, and then give it out to our clients during that day.
Now, as far as the food drive is concerned, people can bring food, but they can also bring money, can't they?
They can. Through our partnership with Harry Chapin, for every $1 that you give, we are able to buy $6 worth of food.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great return.
That's terrific.
Yes, it is.
Now, we are standing here before an empty basket. These kinds of things need to be filled, don't they?
They do, yes, they do.
But the question always is, with what kinds of things should they be filled? Obviously, there are sometimes, I can imagine in a food pantry, you get a lot of donations, and you maybe get too much of one thing and not enough of another.
That's
so
correct.
Can you show us some of the things that would
I'd
be
be
really
happy
good to
to
provide?
We need basically protein-rich items, such as tuna fish, hearty soups with meat in them, canned hams, peanut butter and jelly. Jelly we always have a shortage of. That's quite a staple for people and their children, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Some type of stew, canned chicken, anything that has protein in it. The other thing that we need are reusable bags. This is what we give our clients. We fill them up. They take about 4 bags each time they come to visit us. They get about $250 worth of food on an average Monday.
Well, that's exciting to be able to supply that, and a lot of people take advantage of it. And we certainly hope that our residents and community will participate in the food drive. Tell us once again when it is running and where those donations can be placed.
Okay, it runs from the 17th to the 22nd of November. You can bring your donation here to the church, at the racks at the Woodlands and the Island, to the golf course, and to the health club at Eagles Preserve and the Cove at the estuary.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Jan, for sharing with us the opportunities, and we hope that you'll all participate in this food drive for the South Fort Myers Food Pantry. Blessings to all of you, and we thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.
Thanks for joining us on today's program. Return tomorrow when Kathy and Miskell will talk about competition in this month's Attitude of Yes. And we'll get a preview of a class with Peter and Jerry Nanfelt entitled Our Lives in a Changing World. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Monday, November 16th. I'm Rich Nation.
And I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi. On behalf of everyone here at Shell Point TV, we thank you for watching and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow.